Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
All right, this is the Eureka Springs Hospital Commission regular meeting for March 23rd, 2026. It's 1 o'clock, and we'll go ahead and do a roll call. Start.
Sharon Doremus, Commissioner.
Kate Dreyer, Secretary. Got Vivian on the phone.
David Carlisle, Commissioner.
Willie Daniels, Commission Chair.
Tiffany Means, CEO.
Doug Hoban, Interim CFO.
Pam Adams, Clinical Operations Manager.
Jody Edmondson, HR Director.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Vivian.
Has everybody taken a look at the agenda? Is there any changes that need to be made? Want to go ahead and approve the agenda? Motion to approve. Okay. What about the minutes? Any changes to the minutes? Motion to approve the minutes?
Who gave the motion to approve the agenda?
Oh, you did?
Second.
Oh, okay.
You did? Who?
No. Oh,
You thought I did?
yeah.
Okay, you have motion to approve the agenda. Okay, I got a second, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the minutes?
So move. To approve.
Okay. And do we get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and there's no public here for comment, so we'll go ahead and move on to the CEO report.
All right. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I want to begin expressing my appreciation to the Commission, City Council, and our community for your continued patience, trust, and support. The work underway is centered on our responsibility to serve this community, deliver safe and reliable care, and ensure that Eureka Springs Hospital operates with financial stability and professional accountability. As CEO, I carry a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that all financial information shared publicly is accurate, properly validated, and presented with the necessary context. This is essential to prevent misinterpretation that could impact hospital operations and workforce stability and access to care for our community. While we are fully committed to transparency as a municipal-owned hospital, we must also be responsible in how information is shared. Presenting incomplete or unvalidated financial data without context can create unintended consequences for the organization and those we serve. So let's go back to our pillars. Patients first. We center every decision on what is best for those we serve. People matter. We invest in growth, accountability, and performance. Progress always. We lead through innovation, technology, and regulatory excellence. Leadership is tested in moments like this, when systems must be rebuilt while care continues every day. I am confident that this hospital can be stabilized and strengthened through a commitment to truth, standards, and patient-centered leadership. I remain fully accountable for leading this organization forward deliberately, transparently, and in service to the people who depend on us. Eureka Springs Hospital will remain open, grounded in its mission, and led with integrity, because our patients, our staff, and this community deserve nothing less. As we continued our comprehensive operational review, the interim CFO and I have now fully defined a set of issues that are both significant and long-standing. The scope of these findings helps explain why concerns have persisted over time. What has become clear is that these challenges are rooted in system-level gaps that developed, again, over a number of years. Processes not aligned with best practices, missed opportunities for external guidance, and operational structures that did not support the long-term stability. Importantly, this phase of discovery has allowed us to move beyond identifying issues into structured correction. What matters now is that we fully understand these issues, We are not applying temporary fixes. We are implementing corrective actions that address root causes. Our focus is to rebuild Eureka Springs Hospital into an operationally sound, professional managed, and financially responsible organization, one that the community can trust. This work is not about individuals, it's about systems. We are actively correcting processes, strengthening operational structure, and establishing a stable and accountable foundation moving forward. All efforts are being carried out in close coordination with our interim CFO to ensure full alignment between operational improvements and financial integrity. Given the ongoing financial reconstruction validation process in accordance with standard healthcare financial reporting practices, we are implementing a structured reporting framework to ensure consistency, accuracy, and responsible communication at every level. This framework is designed to balance this transparency with our obligation to provide information that is complete, validated, and appropriately contextualized. So here's some key components. Tiered reporting structure. We will provide a public-facing summary, detailed reporting for commission review, and when necessary, address sensitive operational matters in accordance with established bylaws and regulatory requirements. Preliminary disclaimer: all financial information presented remains subject to ongoing validation and may be adjusted as reconciliation and review processes are completed. Context requirement: the financial data will be presented alongside operational drivers, correction actions, and contributing factors to ensure a clear and accurate understanding of performance and condition. Operational protection. Certain sensitive information will be managed carefully to protect hospital stability, workforce confidence, and continued access to care for our community. All updates shared today reflect the most current information available and may continue to evolve as validation and operation review progresses. This structured approach allows us to maintain transparency while also meeting our responsibility to communicate in an informative way that is accurate, complete, and does not create unintended consequences for the organization or the community we serve. So here's what we have. We have some discoveries and we have action plans with those discoveries. So Oracle Community Work System was identified as approximately 30% correctly configured during the implementation and go live. This resulted in inefficiency and gaps in the revenue cycle process. So what action are we taking? We are currently working with executive revenue cycle leadership to negotiate a full system reset and rebuild. Upon agreement, the rebuild phase is anticipated to take approximately 4 to 6 months to ensure accurate and sustainability functionality. Another discovery is the charge master is outdated by years and does not reflect current or optimized pricing structure. So what action are we taking? While industry costs typically for a charge master review is about $15,000. So we are working collaboratively with our support network of REH to complete updates at a significantly reduced cost while ensuring compliance and accuracy. All efforts have been continued to carry out close coordination with our interim CFO to ensure full alignment between operation and improvements of financial integrity. There are certain agreements entered into by previous administration that were excessive, not operationally practical, and are creating unnecessary financial burden. So what action are we taking? We are conducting a comprehensive contract review and actively renegotiating or eliminating non-essential services to align with operational needs and financial stewardship. Billing statements have been issued prior to final bill, so we discovered this. This has caused confusion and stress for patients due to balance variances. So what are we doing? A system correction ticket has been placed to ensure statements are sent out after final billing, improving patient experience and accuracy. Another discovery, credentialing files and enrollments with Medicare, Medicaid, and payers were not consistently or properly completed, resulting in the inability to bill and collect professional fees. What action have we taken? We have initiated and are actively completing all 855I and R filings for each individual provider and aligning all payer contracts to ensure full billing capability moving forward. We have discrepancies again in our payment adherence and execution of certain payer and vendor agreements. And our attorney has been engaged, and we are actively working through those negotiations and corrective actions to ensure compliance and recovery of payments are owed that are paid to us. These actions reflect a disciplined, structured approach to restoring operational integrity, and this is our long-term financial sustainability. So let's go to patient care and quality. We continue to prioritize safe, timely, and high-quality care delivery. Where focused areas recently are timely screens, patient satisfaction monitoring and improvements, stabilization and transfer compliance, ongoing quality improvement initiatives, and an emphasis on safe, consistent emergency care delivery. We continue to strengthen our regulatory compliance through policy validation and updates, staff education and competency tracking, monitoring tools, internal audits, strengthening documentation and reporting practices. Our focus remains on sustainable compliance and continuous improvement. Operational, facility, and infrastructure. Our fire safety compliance was tested by a vendor that we utilize, and our preliminary findings indicate minor updates needed to select fire panel alarms. Nothing red tagged. There was just a couple of yellow tags that said your panels just need an upgrade in that piece there. I'm not really technical in that, but that's what they were given. Our final report is pending, and then we will begin the corrective actions when that is completed. So the structural assessment, 2 external vendors engaged following guidance from the city building inspector were contacted. We're waiting on their return phone call. And we will look at those assessments and recommendations to ensure facility integrity. We also replaced 2 sewer pipes in the basement that had frozen and cracked and were leaking. So that's all fixed, repaired, and done. On the helipad safety, SWEPCO came in. They want to install a new pole with a light and put a red safety marker up by that, so when helicopters do land, they can see that light and know when to come down on that. So SWEPCO will be installing that sometime in the next month or 2. As we continue addressing our foundation operations in close coordination with Doug, we are equally focused on advancing strategic partnerships, expanding services, and strengthening our community engagement. So some exciting news. We have officially partnered with UAMS Women's Health, who will begin providing monthly clinic services starting in June. Our outpatient infusion center is continuing to open with increasing access to essential therapies close to home and supporting long-term sustainability. The internal clinic renovation is on track, and we'll be completing that by mid-April. And what does that mean? That means that we're opening up the backside to be what it previously was used as a clinic. We remodeled, put in new floors, painting, and This is a rotating clinic where if we have specialties come in, which we're still working on the partnership, and then we still have dermatology and urology across the street, we're going to be moving them over into that new, cleaned, renovated area. So we're excited about that. As it's known, we've established a partnership with Survival Flight. Our official first day of operations will be on May 18th. We will host a blessing, dedication, ribbon cutting ceremony. We'll also be participating in the Chamber of Commerce Expo Fair next month alongside with Survival Flight. They will be there present as well. So May 18th, mark that on your calendar as the day, and more information to follow on those events. It will most likely be in the morning time, but we need to confirm everything up with that. Patient satisfaction, we attempt to call 100% of our patients back every 24 hours within that 24 hours. In January and February, we've been 25% successful in that. That is either we can successfully connect with them or we cannot, and then if they choose not to participate in the survey, we honor that wish as well. So out of that, we have a 95% have rated us 5 out of 5, and 98% of those patients out of that 25% said they would likely recommend us. On community engagement, beginning in April, we'll continue to host monthly open houses every third Wednesday. We're going to make this a set date. So every third Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m., we will have different topics, different leaders and discussions for an open house and open to our community. And then I will be speaking at Rockspire this Saturday. I've been invited there. I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll continue to outreach to strengthen our transparency as we continue to work in our community and connections. Workforce and culture, we focus on retention, accountability, leadership alignment. We hosted a Shamrock and coworker picnic on St. Patrick's Day, and then we're going to be doing a coworker engagement survey launching May 1st. We are evaluating and negotiating laboratory leases. Our leases are up this summer, and we are looking at what's going to be the best financial move for the hospital with the best equipment. So we are seeking out vendors right now, getting cost and all of those put together to see what's going to be best. Do we keep the same one or do we move to a different vendor? So that kind of is a big thing for us because right now QC costs are very extraordinary, and some of these new equipments have a different approach to QC, which would lower that cost. So we're going to be looking at that. And then I think I'm going to transition over to our interim CFO for detailed financial reporting and corrective action updates. So Doug, I think I spoke enough. It's your turn.
Well, I tag team with Tiffany, and good afternoon, commissioners. As part of our ongoing financial reconstruction and validation process, our priority is to ensure that all financial information presented is accurate, complete, and aligned with standard healthcare financial reporting practices. Over the past several months, questions have been raised regarding the accuracy, timing, and consistency of the financial reporting. These questions are both appropriate and necessary as they guide a comprehensive review of the hospital's financial operations. Since January, we have conducted a detailed and structured assessment of key financial components, including revenue recognition, expense recording, contractual allowances, bad debt reserves, and cash flow activity. This work has been performed in close coordination with the executive leadership and in alignment with guidance from our external audit and advisory partner, Forvis. Through this review, we have identified system-wide gaps within the revenue cycle process that have developed over time and have implemented both financial performance and reporting accuracy. These findings reflect the cumulative effect of multiple factors across prior operational periods rather than just a single isolated episode. Key factors contributing to this include the electronic health record, the EHR, system implementation, which, if you recall, occurred in the Cerner system, and that occurred between the fall of 2023 with a go-live date of April 1st of 2024. During this system design and implementation phase, certain data inputs and configurations were not fully aligned with operational workflows and reporting requirements. This has contributed to inefficiencies in the billing process, reconciliation, and financial reporting consistencies. The transition from the critical access status to the rural emergency hospital status in December of 2023. While this designation change occurred during the system build, full alignment of the system reconfigured with the REH reimbursement structure was not completed at that time, resulting in downstream effects impacting the revenue cycle's performance. The system go-live, as we know, occurred on April 1st of 2024. The transition to the current systems environment occurred while known operational and workflow challenges were still present, which has required ongoing correction and stabilization efforts. Additionally, the emergency service coverage model was changed in February of 2025. Changes in the provider coverage introduced additional billing and collection responsibilities for the hospital, requiring infrastructure and processes to support professional billing that were not fully vetted at that time, impacting revenue capture. And finally, the audit and financial reporting practices that were identified by Forvis, the facilities auditing firm, in September of last year. As part of their September 2025 external audit presentation, Forvis provided recommendations to improve financial reporting accuracy and consistency. These included implementing a standardized contractual and bad debt modeling, as well as establishing disciplined monthly and year-end processing. Through continued collaboration with Forvis, these recommendations have been reaffirmed and are now actively being implemented as part of our financial reconstruction effort. These findings, supported by Forvis guidance and internal review, have provided clarity on both the root cause and financial performance challenges and the actions required to correct them. As part of this review, we have analyzed historic and recent cash flow activities to better understand operational performance and identify areas requiring correction. Over the period from December 2024 through February of 2026, the hospital has experienced a significant reduction in the cash reserves. This reflects the cumulative impact of the system and processing gaps previously identified, particularly within the revenue cycle performance, billing accuracy, and timing of the collections. Focusing more specifically on the recent performance over the most recent 3 months period, from December of 25 through February of 26. The average monthly cash inflow was approximately $401,000. The average monthly cash outflow has been approximately $693,000. It is important to emphasize that these figures reflect a period of identified operational inefficiencies and do not represent a stabilized or corrective operating state. Financial metrics such as cash flow do not on their own provide a complete and accurate picture of the hospital's sustainability, particularly during a period of active operational correction, and must be considered alongside the action currently underway. Cash flow performance is being closely monitored and actively managed with a focus on improving both operational efficiencies and financial outcomes. So the corrective actions and financial restructuring plan. In the response to these findings, a comprehensive set of corrective actions is actively underway to stabilize operations, improve financial performance, and restore reporting integrity. These actions include revenue cycle reconstruction, rebuild the workflow across registration, documentation, charge capture, coding, billing, and collection to ensure competent, accurate, and accountable revenue cycle processes. System configuration review and optimization, working in cooperation with the system and revenue cycle leadership to correct configuration gaps, align the platform with operational and reimbursement requirements. Financial reporting discipline, implement structured monthly and quarterly close processes in alignment with Forvis's recommendations to ensure accurate, consistent, and accountability in the financial reporting provided. Contractuals and bad debt modeling, establishing standardized methodology to improve predictability and accuracy in the revenue adjustments and reporting. Provider credentialing and enrollment alignment. Ensure all providers are fully credentialed and enrolled across all insurance payers, and to support complete and compliant billing capabilities. Expense review and alignment. Ongoing evaluations of the vendor agreements and operational expenses to ensure alignment with current services delivery needs and long-term financial stability. These actions are not temporary fixes. They are foundational corrections designed to improve performance and ensure long-term stability. All financial reconstruction efforts are being carried out in close coordination with the CEO and the executive leadership team. This alignment ensures that operational improvements and financial performance is fully integrated. Reporting is accurate, validated, and appropriately contextualized. Decision-making is supported by reliable and defendable financial data. Additionally, ongoing collaboration with Forvis provides an external benchmark to ensure all corrective actions and reporting practices align with industry standards and best practices. So in closing, while the challenges identified are significant, they are now clearly understood, and we are beginning to address through a structured, disciplined, and cooperative and coordinated approach. This work reflects a transition from the discovery phase to action, focusing on correcting root causes, strengthening systems, and improving both operational and financial performance. Through this alignment between the executive leadership and external partners, such as Forvis, we are building a more stable, accountable, and sustainable financial foundation for the hospital. We will continue to provide updates as validation and report processes progress, ensuring transparency while maintaining accuracy and responsible communication. Thank you.
Velvet is on spring break, so we miss her dearly this week, but in her shoes today is our clinical operations manager that will give us the February report, and her name is Pam Adams. So take it away, Pam.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. We'll just take a moment to highlight our clinical operations, where we're seeing strong performance, continued growth, and a clear commitment to patient care and safety. From a staffing perspective, we are currently only have one night shift opening for an RN. Everything else is filled, which is absolutely great in this day and time. In fact, we've had a lot more day people or PRN people apply than we really have room for. But we're keeping them all in there so that we're trying to make sure that everything's taken care of. But we are actively recruiting to fill the role of the RN night position. And overall, our clinical team remains strong, engaged, and focused on delivering safe, high-quality care. Going to our lab services, they're fully staffed and operational 24/7, ensuring continuous support for patient care. Now, occasionally, we do experience equipment-related service needs, and while vendor response can range from 24 to 48 hours, which that's a long time for us, we do have processes in place to make sure that we can continue to take care of the patient, and there's no interruption in their care at all. Now, I will just go over a little bit of growth in patient access. From a volume perspective, we are seeing very strong and encouraging growth, which reflects both increased community trust, which is very important, and expanded access to care. February, we'll go over February from year over year, compare 25 and 26. In February of 2026, we saw 181 patients, versus 2025, 122, which was about a 48% increase. Our EMS volume, 2026, was 59 versus in 2025, 32, which is about an 84% increase. The year-to-date growth, census from year-to-date for 2026 is 496 versus 340 from 2025. Which is about a 46% increase. EMS volume is 162 in 2026 so far versus 81 in 2025, which is double. It's a 100% increase. Now, we did a March from March 1st, 2025 to the end of March, they saw 127. And we've already seen from March 1st to date, 147. Our EMS, they saw in 2025, 25, and we've seen 41 so far in March this year. So we're trending, and we project that we should see about 198 patients in March, and at least probably about 55 EMS, which is a 121% increase over the previous 2025, which is great. So what this tells us is more patients are choosing Eureka Springs Hospital for their care, and EMS utilization is increasing, indicating growing reliance on our emergency services and trust. Trust, very, very important. And our role as a community access point for care is strengthening. More importantly, this growth is occurring while maintaining our focus on patient safety, quality of care, timely and appropriate treatment. Our clinical team continues to show up every day with professionalism, compassion, and a strong commitment to the patients we serve. We have very experienced ED nurses that we are getting. And this growth is not happening by chance. It reflects the work being done across the organization to stabilize operations, improve access, and rebuild trust within the community. Like I said, which is very important. We have got to have the trust of the community, and that is one of the main things that we are trying to build. And we're very proud of the care that's being delivered, and we remain focused on continuing to strengthen both access and quality as we move forward. We're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Tiffany.
Thank you.
Commissioners, good afternoon. So the workforce overview in March, we are bringing in 4 registered nurses, 1 medic, and 1 registration clerk. Our February turnover rate is down to 2%, which is equivalent to 1 full-time employee. And this just shows that our recruiting efforts are productive. And we are just going strong.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
So just to end a little bit, there's been some questions from the council requesting for financial information and the focus on understanding the hospital's current position. And that is respected and is both appropriate and expected. As we approach the end of the first quarter on March 31, it is important to clarify that financial reporting, particularly in healthcare organizations, and especially during an active reconstruction and validation process, that requires a structured closed period to ensure accuracy and reliability. And you're hearing those words a lot today. So in standard hospital operations, a month-end close typically takes approximately 10 to 15 business days, and a full quarter in can take up to 15 to 30 days. Giving the additional work underway to validate historical data, reconcile accounts, and ensure system accuracy, our priority is to provide information that is complete, accurate, and defensible. We don't want to present numbers to be checking off a box here in front of you today that we know can change tomorrow due to the past has not been corrected. So we just want to make sure that our quarter one financial reporting is going to be the best accuracy that we can have by fixing the past and moving that. And Doug is doing all of his efforts many hours of the day, and especially 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He is taking this very seriously to try to remedy. But to go back a little bit, just to give just a little analogy, if you even go back to 2023, and let's just say that was not closed officially accurately, it leads to the month, each month going forward being wrong. And then you lead into 24, and if 2024 isn't closed out, then it leads you into different numbers going into January, February, March. So if you have understanding, and I appreciate Doug's work, when he presents to me, he's like, we have to correct the past in order to stand up here today to give you the true actual numbers instead of just giving you numbers based on what we think that they are, okay? Because that will also lead to a variance, and being in a public forum, we know those numbers matter, and people read the numbers, and that leads into a false interpretation. So we want to be very careful with that. So with regards to questions asked about burn rate and cash runway, I want to address that directly. While these are common financial concepts, evaluating the hospital's future based on a single point-in-time metric, it does not on its own provide a complete or accurate picture, particularly during a period of active operational correction, okay? So what we are actively managing forward is basically sharing the same thing. We're correcting revenue cycle processes. We're closing out years into months. And this is, again, conversations with Doug, conversations with 4 of us, their advice to us of what we need to do to get to the actual numbers. That was the professional advice of Doug and 4 of us. So we're addressing the system gaps, aligning expenses with operational needs, and strengthening financial oversight. So rather than focusing solely on how long the hospital can operate based on a static calculation, the more important question is whether we are taking the right actions to stabilize, improve, and sustain operation. And I'm going to say the answer is yes. Okay? The hospital is actively being rebuilt, deliberately with structure, and these corrections take hold. Lastly, I want to emphasize that how we talk about our hospital matters. I'm hearing lots of positives. We're getting more of the community to come in on the open house, and questions, lots of questions are coming there, and we're also willing to listen to take suggestions of what they think that they would like to see from us. And that's important in relationships. We share a responsibility to ensure that our communication does not unintentionally create fear for patients, staff, or the community, because confidence and access to care is critical to hospitals' stability. So we remain committed to transparency, and we'll continue to provide for financial and operational updates in a structured, accurate, and responsible manner. So as Peter Drucker said, the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence, it is to act with yesterday's logic. And what we are doing today is not operating from the past, we are correcting the past. We are building forward with discipline, accountability, and purpose. I believe in this hospital. I have seen the transformation. It gives me energy to continue to push forward for this community and serve in the way that we're here for them. I believe in the people, and I believe in what we're building together. So this is not the end of our story. It's our turning point. So thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tiffany. There's no old business at this time, and any new business? No new business. All right, commissioner comments? Start back there with Sharon.
Well, once again, I'm just always amazed when I come to these meetings and I hear such positivity. I have two friends recently that have gone and used the hospital, and they had really positive feedback. So that trickle down, you know, to me, it means a lot. I'm glad that y'all have identified problems, you have solutions, and now you're getting into action. I think that, you know, that's important. You know, I'm just thrilled compared to where we were. I feel like we're moving forward. So thank you, guys, for your hard work, you know, staying up to 2 and 3, and, you know, wow.
It is truly a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone
oh,
at
yeah.
the side of the room has put in
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I thank y'all, not just for me, but for the community. You know, that, because I think that's important. When you go out there on the street and you have all those tourists out there, you want to make sure that when they go to our hospital, they're treated, you know, just as well as they'd be treated if they drove to, you know, Fayetteville or wherever. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I second everything Sharon said. So has the city council had any recent concerns about staff satisfaction? Has that come up?
No,
Okay.
but it's one of those that I said a long time ago, that I usually do pulse checks at every 6 months. So when we did a engagement last fall, now it's time to have another one. And so that is feedback, information to truly understand. We can sit here and go, oh, we think we're doing this, but there might be some things that come out of that we can improve on, and a lot of that give you understanding overall how they feel about the culture and working at Eureka Springs Hospital. So it was, it was my initiation to do that.
I have one thing. The one employee that we lost in February still works for us PRN. So it wasn't like they just quit. They are actually still
great.
there. They just got a flight job. And
Your,
so,
your retention numbers, I think, speak volumes as related to satisfaction. So I might have misheard something out on the street about outside concerns about satisfaction. I guess the other thing I'm trying to get my brain around is how we're able to move forward with the financial investigation, I'll just call it, the global one that, Doug, that you're doing, and the Oracle revamp, and I'm assuming that you're able to do your investigative work and that our current Oracle system is not hindering you too badly.
No, I think any transition and gaining accessibility to the various systems is a challenge because of security, passwords, et cetera, sign-ons. Oracle is in itself an umbrella system. And by that I mean the financial component of that is with a third-party entity that is contracted with Cerner that's known as Multiview. Similarly, the payroll is handled by another entity called Paychex. Each one of those three has sign-on security access issues that needed to be addressed in the early weeks, but we are now working collaboratively with Oracle, Cerner, and specifically revenue integrity staffing. They are preparing a scope of work and potential timeline, which they'll be sending to us in the next day or two. Similarly, I have begun discussions with Multiview on the financial reporting and the concerns related to closing of month-end activity, year-end activity, et cetera. Had a call this morning, and we will begin meeting with high-level executives of Multiview starting tomorrow, 1-hour meetings to try to get on a back on a level playing field.
Sorry, honey. Okay,
Again, it will take a few weeks
sure.
to get through all this.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
And so we're doing a rebuild. Is it, okay.
I think that, just to give a little history, when I first came here, that was the first thing that was presented to me was the Oracle build was not right. So I started connecting in October, finally got to some representatives and having discussions and emails back and forth concerned mainly on the clinical side. I did not know the revenue side was worse. Okay? So when that recognition came about, our meetings became more tense because ultimately that's the root of the cause of our major problem. So like I tell Doug, I said, you know, we could have 10 issues, but what's our top 2, right? And we need to fix these before we can move on, and Oracle is at the top. So when we've escalated things, we have sent emails, we have had strong emails, hey, listen to us, do an assessment of us, see what you see and what we're telling you, and now we've come to the agreement they recognize as well it's broken. So it took that long to finally get that mutual agreement, if that makes sense to you. Now it's coming up with a negotiation of how do we fix it? And when do we fix it? And what does it take to fix it? And we are at that point where their exec team, because it has gone up to the executive level, are now going to come back to us. We're waiting on their response on how this is all going to work out. Now that we've both agreed, Houston, we have a problem, right? So before, they were not recognizing it was their problem. They were putting it all on the facility. Okay, see where I'm going? For months, arguing with them, going, your build wasn't correct. They were trying to bring it back to us. I was saying, nope, doesn't work like that. Let's talk. Okay, and so it took going to the executive level and having those conversations and then having them physically assess Little Eureka Springs Hospital Oracle software. So we are hopeful that now, more than ever, that we are now going to be fixed. And again, like he said, if you don't have the streamline of your revenue cycle and every bucket is broken, it's not giving us accuracy of what's billed, of what's charged, of what's coming back to us is, it's just so disrupted right now. And we cannot wait for that to happen. Now they'll have to come down, they'll have to do some on-site, we have to go through it the proper way. Because I've been through 4 implementations, MedHost, Allscripts, Epic, and Cerner Oracle, and there is a process that needs to be completed on our side that was not completed originally, and we need to do it right this time. So they're going to come down, we're going to make it right, they're going to build the configuration based on the REH model, because see, they went in too with it being critical access. It wasn't ever changed, although there's conversation centered around the why behind that. But that has been recognized by them as well, that it was not configured according to the REH. So this stems from all the way back to the implementation, right? So if it's chronically broken, things get worse, you never fix it, it remains broken. And so if you can see, this is why the finances haven't been accurate. When we're busier, we should be reflecting a lot more than what we're able to share, because we know with our patient volumes, our levels that are coming out, charges, Pam does all the charge reviews of the documentation. We know what levels that are going in there. But then again, you have a charge master that is outdated by years that is not properly billing correctly the charge codes. So I know it's confusing, because even for me, I put it up in my office and I've rewrote it a million times, because I'm trying to, I never knew this world was just so complicated. But it's complicated in the matter that if it doesn't go right, it's bad. And this is where we're at with that. Business is here, volumes are here. You can tell we have this growth that's going on right now. We're working on outpatient services. That's going to change us. But again, if Oracle's not billed right, then we go into another problem with that. Does that make sense?
I just want to say that I recognize the determination that it took to get a giant like Oracle to, on the executive level, admit where they dropped the ball. That took a bunch. So I thank you so much for everything.
Well, they just don't know who I am, and I just don't stop it. No. So, anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we've had the pleasure of getting to know who you are. And
and to see an action. And, you know, we watched for months and months and months and months, the people on the ground kind of come together as a working force, kind of moving in the same direction, delivering care without all the turbulence that we had for so long, that was so difficult and that just disturbed the community, not to mention it must have been horrible to work there in that uncertain environment. And to have that improved. And I've been there two times with people that I knew going through an encounter with the REH model, and it was really an excellent delivery. You know, everything was done appropriate and timely and with explanation. It was, for a patient, it was the best you can hope for if you're stuck going to an ER. But at the other level of the engine that provides the driving force so that you guys can be there and be employed and be paid and, you know, do what you need to do and, you know, make sure that you're not overspending on the lab equipment and the whole monstrous snafu of the implementation of the magical health record, the electronic health record that will save us all, and have that work totally against everything to just obscure a difficult and obviously not financially comprehensible situation, and then to just drag it on. To hear what you have done to elucidate those issues and to finally come up with a way where we can, within a cost that we can afford, get them to do what they should have seen wasn't happening, and the fundamental error of not recognizing an alteration in the status of the new entity of REH when they're the guys providing the substructure without which we can't do anything. Yeah, I'm glad to see if we're working on the revenue cycle and bringing data up to date, and hopefully, you know, this is kind of one of those pig in a poke questions, but you've mentioned the difficulty in squaring all the historical data and getting it rectified so that we're looking at our baseline being what it actually is. What sort of a timeline do you imagine that would run on?
I'm sorry,
Getting
timeline?
Oh, right. No, I'm just saying what's some...
I'm hoping within a 45-day turnaround.
Okay.
Again, obviously with the support of the Multiview executive team, with Forvis's input, are all key components to timely accomplishing that kind of a timeline.
Well, that's great. Yeah, that's shorter than I would have imagined. Thank you. I'm grateful to the entire team. I'm glad we have a hospital that's running, and hopefully we can keep it running as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, yeah. You know, thank you so much, because I know Tiffany, well, everybody there at the hospital is just working hard, and Doug, long hours. You know, it's one of those things where to discover what the issues are and then to develop the action plans, and then the people that, you know, working alongside with Forvis and Oracle and those structures that need to be, we need to get this all tied together to make this thing work. So, you know, I'm just excited about the action plans that we can go and move forward with. At least we've identified what we need to do and now move forward with what can be fixed. And I think that's the biggest thing that everybody's looking for, because I think, you know, just walking through the hospital in the open houses and seeing the progress that's made on the inside, it looks great. excited about the new service with the helicopter. There's a lot of things, that are being put in place to make this hospital viable way into the future. And, with Tiffany's leadership, I think, we can move far. And so just appreciate the whole team because, like Tiffany said, it's teamwork.
It is teamwork.
And, it takes each and every one doing their part. And I just appreciate what you're doing.
Well, you have to understand, too, I've done contract work across the country, and I know Doug's contract, but this is something that really, truly is meaningful when they don't have to particularly be engaged, a contractor. The loyalty between two is between a piece of paper that's signed, right? But Doug's blessing of us and coming in and recognizing all of these significance and getting to the root causes and staying up night after night and trying to figure out the madness. I can remember one day he called me like 2 or 3 weeks in. He goes, I think I'm trying to, that map, trying to figure out all of that map, which has been non-traditional in accounting world. But I appreciate all of his efforts and his engagement, again, emotionally being tied to making it right, not just signing the contract, I'm only going to do my 8 to 5 and then walk out the door. He's going way above and beyond that, and that is a big appreciation that I want to share, because we talk to each other on Saturday and Sundays, and we are talking finances 7 days a week, and we are not going to let up this mission until we can get it straight. And so it does take everybody's efforts, Jody's efforts, to get the 855s in and making sure all of our providers are credentialed independently. That is a big task. Okay? And then Pam, who actually goes and checks all the charges every day, and then she keeps all of that in line and works with registration and all of that piece. And then Velvet, of course, who we cannot forget to mention her, she has been very integral in getting the path and the mission and the continuum going to outreach and help me partner in that aspect. And she does a lot of the rearranging, and she'll come to me and she goes, I'm going to put that desk over there. And I go, really? Are you sure about that? And she's like, yep. And then I'll walk to her a couple days later and I go, yeah, I think that's working on me. So she works really, really hard as well. So it does take a team. Clark Facilities, it does take the entire team. And when you walk in there, there is pride, and you feel it, and we care about who we serve. And that's what is most important. So.
Thank you, Tiffany. All right. Let's see here. There's not going to be a workshop scheduled for April. Our next regular scheduled meeting will be April 20th at 1 o'clock here. And if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Thank you, everyone.